Welcome back to After the Snap. I'm your host, Tasha Pierce. And for the first time in a very long time, ever since Spider Man No Way Home, actually, I got a film review Friday for you. And of course, look, I got to fix this. You can see I did nothing to myself today because that's a whole different thing. I won't even go into it right now. But yeah, the movie that I'm going to be talking about today is The Batman. Matt Reeves directed this iteration of the Batman story. And yeah, I said, well, if I got to leave the house and freaking keep myself paranoid for a complete 24 hours, then it might as well be for the Batman. And it appears that I was not alone in this Batman thing. Batman has taken off to a rip roaring start. We're going to get into that in just a second here. Um, yep. But yeah, going to the movies was a different experience this time. It's been a month or so. No, it's been a couple of months. Gosh, it's been a couple months since I've been to the movies. People are far more relaxed now. They're not wearing masks, and they're not being as cautious as they were at the height of the pandemic. I don't know if that's good or bad. Hopefully, it's a good thing, But hey, Bun, yeah, hopefully it's a good thing. But I mean, who knows? But so that I can tell you guys. So I got two people here, and I'm gonna get into the review rather quickly because I really want to be done in a reasonable time. But you can see I did nothing to myself today, and the reason why is because I done got in my own head and convinced myself that I'm sick or something. I have been in the bed for the whole day pretty much, so I got to get that out of my head. I'm not sick. There's nothing wrong with me. I hope nothing is wrong with me. But that's part of my little problem. I could be a bit of a hypochondriac. um. So yeah, the Batman movie came out. Actually, the drop date is today, but they had a couple of days of previews. So they had the Wednesday night previews for people who were going to see it in IMAX, which I was not aware of. And then they also had the regular Thursday night preview, which is the one that I generally try to go to. And I try to go to the earliest screening of the Thursday night preview night. That earliest screening for this movie was 3 p.m. yesterday. So that is what time I went to go see it. So we're going to talk about the business side of the Batman, and I'm going to, because I'm not looking my best today, I'm going to spare you guys the grief on your eyes. The business side of the Batman. It was directed again by Matt Reeves. The music was by Mike Jacques. I can never say his name. Giacchino. Hey, Thomas. So the music was by Michael Giacchino. He actually did the music for a couple of the Star Trek movies, the newer ones. Yeah. So the budget of this thing was 185 to 200 million dollars, and the cinematography was by Greg Fraser. So that is like the start, where we start with the business side of things. Here are our stars. You were starring Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle, also known as Catwoman. We had Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne / Batman. We had Paul Dano as the Riddler. We had Colin Farrell, who was completely unrecognizable in this movie as the Penguin. Detective Gordon was played by Jeffrey Wright. Oh my gosh, I forgot her name. Gosh, I forgot her name. Let me look her up. I can't believe I did that. Let's see. Jamie Lawson. Lord have mercy. Jamie Lawson played Bella Real. She was running for mayor of Gotham. And then we had Andy Serkis. He played Alfred, of all things, Alfred in this version of the Batman. And for these people that we have on the screen, um, they played their role. One of the things about this movie is that it is done in a noir style. We're going to get more into that in a couple of minutes for those who are not 100% sure what a noir style film is. But it's done in a noir style. These these characters fit the bill. The actors did their part, played their roles perfectly. That is to include the Batman. So I guess I kind of spilled on the fact that I think Robert Pattinson did do a good job as the Batman. So this is Warner Brothers' complete return to the theatrical window. That means without that HBO Max day and date where they were putting it on HBO Max the same day it was coming out in theaters, that's not happening. But it is proving to be lucrative for Warner since debuting with previews. Oh, this goes all the way back to Tuesday night. Since debuting with previews Tuesday night, the Matt Reeves directed The Batman has racked up $21.6 million just during the preview night. Between special one Showtime only previews, largely IMAX on Tuesday and Wednesday. The Batman rang up $4 million on those 2 days, which means on Thursday alone, after 3 p.m., $17.6 million was made by the Batman. Now, the theater count rises to over 4,000 today, so it's going to be 4,217 theaters showing, or auditoriums showing the Batman. And that just means that the potential for more money. This thing has a potential to come really close to matching the Spider-Man No Way Home numbers. The Batman's Thursday previews are ahead of such DC movies as the Justice League, which only made 13 million. And I'm saying only because it wasn't even near the pandemic era. Wonder Woman made 11 million, but it's charting in below the movies from Christopher Nolan, The Dark Knight Rises. Those two movies made far more on their preview night. And then Batman versus Superman also made 27.7 million on its preview night. Now, we were doing a thoughts experiment looking at the theaters in my area and how many people had reserved seats early for the Batman. As we were looking at this for the last maybe couple of weeks, we found that a lot of people were not reserving seats. It was actually scary to me. I'm like, are people not going to go see this movie? And I've made it my personal campaign to push people to go see it. Well, this might explain that. 20% of the people who went to go see this movie bought their tickets to the Batman a week ago. 23% brought it within the last week. 16% brought their tickets the day before they saw the movie. And then 40%, that's a huge percentage, bought tickets on the day that they watched the movie. I noticed that a few people in the theater that I went to were going up to the box office window to buy their tickets. And I always find that weird when you can reserve yourself a seat, but to each his own. Maybe some people didn't know that they would be off in time. There has to be a reason why some people went to the theaters but didn't reserve a seat. Okay, and now let's just get into the synopsis of this movie. Batman ventures into Gotham City's underworld when a sadistic killer leaves behind a trail of cryptic clues. As the evidence begins to lead closer to home and the scale of the perpetrator's plans become clear, he must forge new relationships, unmask the culprit, and bring justice to the abuse of power and corruption that has long plagued the metropolis. When we say metropolis, we're not talking about where Superman lives, not that metropolis, Gotham, that metropolis. So, film noir. Film noir is a French term. It means black film or film of the night. So you can already tell what the tone of the film is. But that is what a film noir is. And then there are certain aspects to any movie that if it can mostly contains these aspects, that it will be called a noir film. Um, so a movie which at no time misleads you into thinking there's going to be a happy ending. That's a noir film. Locations that reek of the night, of shadows, of alleys, back doors to fancy places, apartment buildings with a high turnover rate, taxi drivers, bartenders, people who have seen it all. That is another indication of a noir film. Movies shot in black and white or feeling like they were shot in black and white, which this movie definitely feels that way. Women who would just as soon kill you as love you, and vice versa. And then for women, low necklines, floppy hats, mascara, lipstick, red lipstick, dressing rooms, boudoirs, high heels, red dresses, that type of vibe. All of that is encompassed in film noir. We're doing no spoilers here, Reinhardt. Okay, I see that you saw it. Don't drop nothing in the comments. So all of those things encompass film noir. Um, and this film had all of that. It also was downbeat. So you hear so many times of an upbeat film, and this was a downbeat film. It was very darkly lit. It Our hero was morally ambiguous. We not 100% sure whether our morals align with his or not. He's kind of like on both sides of the fence. Uh, in film noir movies, you have a private eye, which we had. That was the Batman. We have an urban setting, which was Gotham. You have the femme fatale, which was Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman. You have that hopeless feeling. We have crime, and it's usually murder. And in this case, of course, it was murder. And we have the voiceover narration. All of those things build a film noir, and that is exactly what we got in the Batman. So all of the things that I just said, all of those phrases uh, would be perfect descriptions of the movie that I saw. Oh, so the Batman ticks all the boxes on a film noir. It Let me see. We got Batman, or Bruce Wayne slash Batman. Oh, thank you, Thomas, for liking the stream. Everybody else, if you don't mind, please. And Reinhardt said he think he has to see it one more time before he forms his final opinion. I don't think I can, and it's not because I dislike the movie in any way. I can't sit 3 hours again to, you know, I got issues, and you guys know about my issues, but the first 3 hours was torture, even though I enjoyed the movie. But I'm gonna push on. I'm not telling y'all anything that you don't know about how I can get in my own head. Um, so we're meeting this Bruce Wayne, this Batman, and he's 2 years in. So he's been basically trying to save Gotham for 2 years. Now, in this 2 years, he has formed an alliance with Lieutenant Gordon. He's not the commissioner yet in this film. So he made this alliance, but the police, most people think of him as only a vigilante. They don't see any good that he is doing. They basically see him as a criminal, even though what he feels like he's doing is for the greater good. Now, our Batman views society very cynically. He has a very cynical view of the people that he is pledging to protect. And in fact, I wouldn't even call it protection. In these first 2 years, he has basically been trying to keep the streets safe because of the situation with his parents and how his parents were killed. Now, that is one thing that we do not have to retread in this iteration of the Batman. We don't have to see it from the beginning and watch Martha's pearls be yanked off her neck and the popcorn get spilled. We don't have to see all of that this time. And I thought it was good. It worked for the film. We know the story, we know the backstory, much like how we felt with Spider-Man No Way Home, or none of the Spider-Man trilogy of the MCU showed Uncle Ben being killed. Well, this iteration of the Batman didn't need to show Martha and Thomas uh, being killed. Now, when he approaches, and we've seen this in the trailers, when he approaches the bad guy, before he gives him that beat down, he lets him know who he is. He says, "I'm vengeance." And he's referred to that quite a bit throughout this movie. I don't know if anybody called him Batman with the exception of the Riddler. When the Riddler writes the notes to him, and we've seen those greeting cards that he sends to the Batman, he is the only person in this movie that is referring to him as the Batman. Everybody is calling him Vengeance, like that's his first name. That's just something to keep in mind. So now, after this series of grisly and shocking murders, the Batman investigates, and he learns that the source of his troubles are really, really close to home. And again, that was part of the synopsis of the movie. I'm not telling you anything that you don't know about the Batman, but to watch him work it out in his mind that eventually this thing comes back to his front door. It was it was an incredible thing. Robert Pattinson has embodied this character. He's a very different Bruce Wayne. So if you have a favorite Bruce Wayne for this at this point in the franchise of Batman, he might not be your favorite Bruce Wayne. He's brooding down pat, but it's the kind of the emo feel. And plus, the more we discover, the more that we learn about Batman over the years, not in this movie, we've learned that Bruce Wayne is a face that he doesn't really like to put on very much. Bruce Wayne is the character he's playing. Batman is who he really is. And I think as Batman, Robert Pattinson got it. He absolutely understood the assignment, especially given the noir style of this film. This was not a feel good. There are very few, if any, jokes in this movie. Very few. Let me see. Now, some of the things that I guess I didn't like is because it was film noir. So I knew this walking through the door. But y'all know I have vision problems. When a movie is shot and it is visually dark like that, I can't make out everything that's going on the screen. A lot of times I do have to see a movie a couple of times, especially when it's dark and when it's lit with such a dark framework. This one I'm not going back to the movies to see, because we also know that HBO Max will have this movie in 45 days. So I think I can wait a month and a half to see it again and watch it at home, where I can slow things down and speed things up as needed. But yeah, that dark lighting, I'm not a fan of it in any movie, but I understand why it was used. It was part of the vibe, part of the genre of the film. The dialogue is rather rudimentary, but the one thing about it is we don't need it to be fancy. We don't need the words to be fancy. We are understanding what's going on the screen without all of the extras. And by extras, I mean these the pretty words. This Batman is very grounded, very like He is right here with us, and the other characters fit in his orbit very well. I didn't have an issue with the dialogue, but it is a very scaled down script. It is not if you're looking for an awful lot of Batman talking and monologuing, we don't get that. We don't get that at all. Um, our hero is, of course, tortured. He's always been tortured. He's tortured at this point still in his life. Second year Batman, so he's pretty young, right? He's probably 30. I'm thinking that he was about 8 when his parents were killed, and they were saying that we were like 20 years out from his parents being killed, which would put him about 28 to 30 years old. So he's a young dude. Second year as Batman, just really getting a handle on working with Lieutenant Gordon because he's not the commissioner yet. And so he's unbridled. He's like he doesn't have any reins really. He's got the one rein, and he never mentions it. And I'm pretty sure if you are a Batman fan, you know what the reign is, but I'm not telling you that. But that's the only reign he has. Other than that, Batman, this Robert Pattinson will beat your ass. He's just gonna kick your butt and leave you for the police, which is, I enjoyed it without any gadgets. He didn't have all the wonderful little toys that he used. He didn't have any of that. It was really just Bruce Wayne / Batman being a detective. Now, the Riddler, of course, there have been comparisons to a real life serial killer, the Zodiac, and this version of the Riddler. And if you know the story of the Zodiac killer, then you know that it checks the boxes. He does come across as that type of serial killer. He also will remind you of the movies like Saw, like Seven, which is also a film noir. Those types of movies, this killer would put me in that mind space. Now, the only thing that I feel like is really different is that this killer, the Zodiac type or the type from Seven, the movie Seven. I can't remember what the killer's name was. In this iteration, he's in the internet era. So yes, he uses social media. Yes, he uses the 24-hour news cycle. Yes, he is a conspiracy theorist. He gets into these chat forums, and he is very much a modern day boogeyman, because those are the boogeymen that we see now. We see people use the internet, organizing and doing all kinds of high tech stuff that wasn't available when film noir was at its height, all the way back in the 40s and 50s, the 1940s, 1950s. That's when film noir was at its height. Most of the movies would be set in like Chicago, New York, San Francisco, big movies. Of course, we know that this movie is going to be set in Gotham City. So it felt, how the Christopher Nolan movies, that Gotham City was shot in Chicago and felt very Chi-town. We're getting less of a Chicago metropolis in this one. We're getting more of we're getting more of a New York style Gotham City, with big mob bosses and all of that. It's all just like any mob movie. In fact, you can almost take all the known characters out of this movie, replace them with actors or other characters of your choice, and this thing still stands up as a detective movie. It is a Batman movie. Well, I will get to that when I tell you the my final thoughts on the movie. Um, in fact, let's get to that. The Matt Reeves version of Batman further reminds us that Bruce Wayne is his alter ego, not vice versa. Batman is the real dude. Bruce Wayne is the part that he plays. With less attention to the gadgets and wonderful toys that Batman is famous for, this is a detective story which happens to feature characters from the Batman universe. The film's noir style is both a gift and a curse, while it fully immerses us in the pessimism because it really is a heavy, uh, a heavy pessimism over that city, and you learn it through the characters that you encounter in the movie. So while it fully immerses us in the pessimism of Gotham, it also frustrated me for all the little details that I might not have been able to pick up. I'm pretty sure that if you have poor vision, this movie is depending on how poor your vision is, this movie is going to irk you at times. Um, overall, overall, I thought the Batman was a good start for a new slate of films about the Cape Crusader. So I feel like we're going to get a I guess a new franchise of these movies. The way the movie ended makes me believe that they know where they're going next. Um, and whether or not I agree with where they're going next, it might be an entirely different thing. But for what they've put together for this movie, I thought they did a good job. It took our character from the beginning. Of course, this is not a feel good movie. Again, the movie does not end on a happy high note, but we went on the journey with Bruce Wayne. We went on the journey with him. We learned some things about the city of Gotham, and then he also learned some things about himself. And if we're putting that all in a bag and taking it to a next movie where we find this version of Batman, look, maybe 4 years down the line, and him, facing another kind of big situation like this one with Riddler, I think if we take all that down the line with us, then Matt Reeves' Batman will have been a success. I don't want to see this be a one and done. Um, I'm not 100% sure that we need a bunch of other supporting characters. This is Batman, and one thing about him is that he has been around long enough, the character, that he can stand on his own. We don't need visits from other heroes. So unless you're trying to do a connected universe, which apparently they are not, but unless they were trying to do that, there is no reason that we need to bring other heroes in. I like the on the ground cerebral approach to the detective of Batman. I wouldn't mind seeing some more of his gadgetry, the things that have become familiar with us when we talk about Batman. But I think this movie, the way that it is, just a detective movie done in the film noir style, he nailed it. If that's what Matt Reeves was going for, he nailed it. I was a fan of it. I wasn't a fan of the way that it was shot, but I definitely was a fan of the movie itself. I gave it a 4.25 out of 5 stars, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Um, if you're, I guess if you're wondering if I recommend it to, or do I recommend it for you to run out and go to see it? Yeah, I would be crazy to sit here and not tell you to go see a movie if you can. But for those of my friends who are housebound and homebound for the time being, can't get out that much, this is one that will be coming out in 45 days on HBO Max. So unless Warner changes their mind about the way that they're going to distribute this film, 100, 45 days is what you can expect before it will be on HBO Max. So, did anybody else see it besides? I know Reinhardt saw it. Did anybody else see it, or do you guys have any thoughts or questions? Now, know that I'm not going to spoil anything, so don't ask me any questions that will require me to spoil for somebody else. But if you just want to know, what I thought about something, or without going into details, talk about a scene, then we can do that. Especially since it only took me 30 minutes to get my review out. I'm gonna give it a couple seconds just in case you got anything you want to add or say. If you don't, I think we can go on to another subject for a few minutes. I don't want to cut out of here too early. But yeah, I do believe that I've seen enough. I understood enough, and the 3 hours, the runtime is killing me. That's what killed me. Kaz, I missed you. Said I am excited to see it. I like the director and the cast, but yeah, I can wait to 45 days. Yeah, if that's just wait them 45 days, and if you've already got HBO Max, you might as well wait. Unless you're trying to do something like this. I got to put some reviews out so that I'm trying to get Rotten Tomatoes certified. So I have to put out a certain amount of reviews every year. They need to see a little body of work. You understand? So I'm doing my body of work, and I'm putting out the reviews on because I kind of that's what I'm working towards. If I wasn't working towards anything, the way I feel today after going out yesterday, I would have sat at home because yeah, I would have said I would have rather not rather I would have rather gone to the movies like I did, but I don't like the way I feel when I come home, and today's just been a bad day. I just been in the bed all day. So there's that. um yeah. Did anybody oh hey Clarence. You said how was Zoey as Catwoman? She was good. Everybody, the entire cast did well. Like I was saying towards the beginning though, the and this is a Tasha thing probably, but the dialogue is a little bit rudimentary, but at the same time it doesn't have to be elaborate. She did well, um especially playing the fact that she had a duality to her character as well. I mean, of course, we know that there's Selena Kyle and that there's Catwoman, but there's also Selena, Catwoman fighting with what makes her Catwoman, what made Catwoman even important. I don't know if that makes sense. Well, Thomas, we did. Well, I don't know if everybody did, but I know I did. I watched Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard. I cannot wait until Sunday when we talk about those two things, because Lord, there are some things that we need to unpack. We've had our discussions in the Discord server, on the Discord server, and I might be in the minority about how I felt about Star Trek Discovery. And then Star Trek Picard, to be quite honest and real with you, I have to watch it again. I've watched it twice. I think I've fallen asleep at the same point both times. Um, I know I'm missing something because I saw somebody else, because I thought I had saw it all. I saw somebody else's recap of it, and I was like, I didn't see that. So I have to go back. I have to watch it again, but I can't watch it like the way I am right now. I'll fall asleep. Uh, but yeah, I did. Thomas, I can't wait to talk about that. We're gonna give everybody an opportunity to see it. Um, but yeah, the Batman, Zoey did fantastic, Clarence. To go back to the Batman, Zoey did fantastic. She was sympathetic and she was a badass all at the same time. And the chemistry between those two actors is electric. Very, very, just an awesome job by all. And I guess if I had to pick the breakout star of this, it would be Robert Pattinson as the Batman. I mentioned that I wasn't very fond of his Bruce Wayne, and I don't think I was supposed to be. I think that was by design. But as the Batman, he did the thing. He is the standout in this movie. Oh no! Look, what's her name? Zoe Kravitz is up there. To me, I know that there are a lot of people who say, "Oh, Michelle Pfeiffer is the gold standard, and nobody has touched it." I think Zoe is right there. I really do. And further, like her body of, I don't want to say her body of work. She is. It seems like it plays well to her strengths as an actress. I don't know if that makes sense either, but Zoe Kravitz did the thing as Catwoman in this movie. And I'll go back to the let me see. I'll go back to the things that make a noir film, because that was basically this movie, noir film. Everything they described it as noir, and it definitely was noir because it hit every one of these points. The things that you know that you will find in a noir film on a regular, like any noir film should have these elements, and this one hit every freaking box. It was a perfect dark detective movie, but it wasn't like perfect. Let me see. Yeah, hi derpy gaming. The film was everything you wanted from a Batman film. It did. It ticked all the boxes. It was a good film. The Like I said, the only thing that I didn't like, and it's personal to me, is it was a noir film, so it is a dark. It's going to be darkly lit, and those films don't translate well with I've got poor vision. That's it. Everything else was very well done. Yeah, Matt Reeves put his foot in this movie. He really did. Yeah, Reinhardt, I agree. Zoe did a fantastic job with this character, with the character of Selena Kyle, um, and what was driving her. So I guess that's what I meant to say way back. The thing that was driving her, uh, she plays well on those types of. It was almost she was vengeance. She was vengeance as well, and I don't think I'm spoiling anything by saying that. On just if I put it up there with just only Batman films, huh, Clarence? If I ranked all the Batman films and had to slide this one in there somewhere, I've got a strong affinity for the 1989 Batman, so that's always going to be there. The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, and the Dark Knight, and then let me think. Then probably this one. So yeah, if I took 1989 Batman, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, this movie, and then I would put The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, this movie was that good to me. It has cracked. Robert Pattinson has cracked the top 5 Batman for me. And as far as the movies, it's a top 5 Batman movie easily. And let me see, as far as the Batman, because we did this whole thing the other day, and it was like, oh, these are going to be my people forever. And yay, Michael Keaton, yay, Ben Affleck, yay, Christian Bale. And now you have to say next, Robert Pattinson. That is how well he did the Batman. Let me tell you, and I think I could tell you this without spoiling anything. Sometimes just hearing him coming was scarier than anything that he could have done to you when he got there. His boots were heavy, his footsteps were real heavy. So it was like you hear that before you even see anything. And then, um, okay, besides that, oh, and then when he gets up on you, the intimidation factor is ratcheted up quite a bit because there were zero fucks given by by this version of the Batman. Um, and what else? What else? What else? Oh, and the music. Now, I'm not a fan of the score of this film. The entire score didn't move me. I'm not saying that it's not good, but it didn't move me the way music in other movies has done, especially recently. But that that freaking Batman anthem, that Batman theme song, that is so perfect. It almost reminded me of to hear it. It almost reminded me of Darth Vader, but that's that ominous, almost breathing down your neck. You can feel it, just almost visceral. You can almost just touch when you hear it. Them footsteps, boom, boom. That anthem comes, and then he comes out of the darkness. It's well shot. It's well shot, except for the fact that it's a film noir movie. That's nothing to do with the movie. That's me. But it's well shot in that you get how imposing Robert Pattinson is meant to be and how just larger than life he's meant to feel. Yeah, but the Bruce Wayne, I think he played this Bruce Wayne the way that he was supposed to. I don't like this Bruce Wayne, but second year Batman, this Bruce Wayne is different than the ones that we have seen over the years. It's a different character. This second year Batman is a kid. He's barely 30 years old, if he's 30. And he is hurt, scarred. So he played it well. Yeah, I liked Robert Pattinson in it. I did. Um gosh, who else stood? I mean, Zoe and Robert Pattinson stole the show until Penguin, and because we've seen little bits and pieces of Colin Farrell's performance, him as the Penguin is like watching a whole different actor. Just he's not himself. I I like the fact that they did things in the way that they did, and now it's not like I'm truly excited for this Penguin show that we're getting, but I am far more intrigued at this point than I was before I saw this movie. Because remember, just it was just a couple of days ago, we was like, who asked for this? And now I'm like, okay, when it comes on, I'm definitely gonna watch it. So that seeing him in this movie changed my not changed my mind, made me more curious about this character. Yeah. Yep, I do not have anything else. I don't know if you guys got anything else. Ask me now. Forever hold your peace. Well, not forever hold your peace. I'll be back here tomorrow at 3. I think. I really I really have gotten into my head real bad this time. So I had couldn't get out of bed. So I ain't making no promises. I plan to be here tomorrow, but I ain't making no promises. And then of course I don't care how I feel Sunday. I do not care. I'm going to be here to talk about Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard. It's another all Star Trek day Sunday at 6 p.m. So Central Time, by the way. Central Time for everything over here. Nothing else, guys. Because if you've got no other questions, comments, concerns, I'm going to check out. I don't have to now, though. I don't have nothing to do but feed my face. So if you guys got anything else, say it now. I know I got to give it like 30 seconds because of the freaking delay. But yeah, I've got nothing else then. I said I was going to give y'all time. I gave y'all time. So if you'll be here tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow. We'll talk more about thank you, Thomas. We'll talk more about the box office. We'll probably have a few more numbers tomorrow. We'll talk more about the box office, but boy, it's off to a great start. $20 million is a pretty decent start. And yeah, so tomorrow, 3 p.m. Central. I don't have a clue. I know Kanye is going to be one of the things that we talk about. I know we're tired of Kanye. That's one of the things we'll talk about, and I'll find a few other. So all that being said, I've got nothing else. Thanks for joining me tonight for this Film Review Friday, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.